you are watching this, there is no doubt that you have listened to a podcast at some stage. And I'm here to convince you as to why you need a podcast for your marketing strategies. My name is Rob Spence, the Managing Director of Paragon Sales Solutions. Not only that, I'm also one of the hosts, some say the better host, of the How I Failed in Business podcast. Go over to Apple Music, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Check it out for yourself. And I'm here to convince you and talk to you about the benefits of hosting and building your own podcast. Now, look, people like to digest their information in all sorts of mediums. Some people like to read blogs. Some people, like yourself probably, like to watch videos. But there are a huge majority of people that love to suck in that information through the ear holes. They will listen to podcasts on the way to work, on the way home from work, whilst doing chores around the house, and even sometimes at the gym. In fact, in a recent study shown, people training for the London Marathon were more likely to listen to a podcast than they were to music. Have I proven my point? So what can a podcast do for you? Now, if you work in any kind of business, I believe, and the statistics show, that getting a podcast will really help elevate your brand to the next level. So what can a podcast do for you? Well, put simply, number one, it can help you reach a global audience. As mentioned earlier, there are more people looking to listen to podcasts than there are actually podcasts being produced. Therefore, that gives you the chance to get your voice and listen to people from Africa, Europe, America, and everywhere else in between, all the other continents that I can't remember the names of. Now, I know what you may be thinking. You don't need to reach a global audience, which is absolutely fine. But even still, if you're selling in the UK, you can grow a fan base, a loyal fan base here, right here in the UK. And of course, there is no harm in getting an outreach out to a global audience. What we find is that by being on platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and even YouTube, and even Amazon podcasts, you can create a fan base that may eventually become a customer of yours. Now, second of all, the great thing about a podcast is it helps build trust and authority. Now, whenever we're selling anything, whenever we're marketing anything, of course, one of the big inputs that we must have is trust and authority and credibility. That's why they're so important to build. Now, let's look at one of the most successful, most popular podcasts of our time, the How I Failed in Business podcast. No, only joking, the Diary of a CEO. Whenever Stephen Bartlett says buy something, people go, oh, okay, I'm going to buy it. Stephen Bartlett has become an authority, so much so that he is now a dragon on Dragon's Den. Now, of course, he's got his business acumen behind the scenes, but he's become a person of authority with that ability to build trust with the listener, and he's done that through his podcast. So do you think for yourself that you can help build trust and credibility just through creating a podcast? I like to think so, no matter what niche you're in. And talking about niches, that kind of takes us on to our next point about content. In today's marketing world, marketing is led by content. We are the makers of our own TV channels. When I was growing up, we had 5 TV channels. That was all the content we could consume, and the occasional VHS that we stole from the local off license. But we had 5 channels to consume content. Now we find that brands, businesses are building their own content banks and getting people to ingest and digest that content at a very fast pace. Of course, video content, in my opinion, still reigns supreme, but audio content is absolutely massive. Just think, no matter what niche you're in, no matter what it is you sell, no matter what your products, no matter what your service is, you can build content that if you put the right thought process in, you can get people wanting to listen to you. They no longer want to listen to the Archers on BBC Radio 4. They want to listen to you. Furthermore to all this, it will naturally drive traffic and increase your visibility. We have already seen by building the How I Failed in Business podcast, and I do urge you to go take a look, is that we have found that we are generating leads and we're getting more people visit our website, visit our content. And the same thing can happen for you. Once again, if we look at our previous point, content truly is king. The more content you can put out as a marketing person, the better chance you are spreading your net of attracting more people. If you can encourage listeners to listen to your social media, you're going to build that trust and credibility. You're going to build fans, not just customers, but fans as well. And you're going to become more visible, and that's going to drive traffic to your e-commerce store, to your website, or even to pick up the phone with you and have a chat. And of course, although I don't think that this is the most important part of any podcast strategy, but you can monetize them. Now, my word of warning is don't start podcasting on day one thinking you are going to become rich, because I assure you, I've been podcasting for more than one day and I'm not rich. However, over time, you can generate an audience base. Let's look at Channel 4. Let's look in particular at Friends, a TV show. The advert break in their final series for one advert in that very final episode sold for over $1 million, which actually nowadays doesn't sound like that much. But back in those days, we're talking 20 years ago plus, was a lot of money. If you would have tried to sell advertising space in one of their ad breaks in their first season, it wouldn't have gone for anywhere near that. Friends took time to build an audience, build a fan base, and to then monetize it. And it's the same with yourself. Start day one just trying to put out good content that enriches, that provides value and entertains. Within 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, whatever it is, you can soon monetize it. Of course, you can do that in a number of ways. You can monetize on the majority of platforms that you put your podcast on through various advertising spends. But also, you could partner with brands. If you listen to any podcast now, they're always giving you codes for discounts. You know what those codes do. They're an affiliate link that give them a bit of commission on the back end of it. So if you hear a celebrity with a use code HelloFresh Rob Spence, you know that they're going to be getting 10% off any sale they make. That's how they monetize it. So eventually, could your podcast become a way to advertise and to monetize and to sell sponsorships? It more than likely can. Look, podcasting isn't anything new. It's been around for a while, but it's continuously starting to evolve. My recommendation is this. Do not wait until tomorrow to start your podcast, because by tomorrow, it will be too late. Start your podcast early. Don't worry too much about it. Take your shot. Start to really get your voice out there and build your episodes one by one. And of course, if you've liked this content, then let's not be strangers. Make sure you hit that like button. Drop the channel a subscribe. And if you do want to find out more about podcasting, head on over to the How I Failed in Business podcast. You'll see me and my colleague Sophia talking nonsense pretty much all day, every day. Plenty of episodes on there, plenty of laughs, giggles, cries, and everything else in between. I've been Rob Spence, and until next time, all the best.